I basically opened a gym with everything that I like to train with. So, so it had obviously your leg press and everything, because that's what I, upper body, lower body. At the time, I did train quite a few boxers, so I've trained a lot of sports in the background, sports like netballers and footballers and boxers. So there was the sport element to it, and it was just a case of, I like to do that day. I like to do it. So there wasn't really, I didn't really have a business plan. I just sort of seen the opportunity, took it, and then just built on it from then, really. So yeah, a bit of CrossFit, and then just a bit of everything, really, just whatever went. The classes were more women only, getting women into lifting weights. That's what I think. With a woman lifting weights, you attract your vibe, attracts your tribe, so you sort of attract more women. But then I did used to train a lot of boxers, so sports. I've got my degrees in sports science, so yeah.
I think when I was there at the weekend, I noticed, like you say, there were kind of regular gym members kind of training. Certainly I noticed it more on the Friday, and it was really lovely because I popped my head round to the kind of bit that goes round like an L shape, and then I could see I think actually most of the people who I saw training, I think it was like 90% women that I saw. I might have seen one or two men, but I think most of the people training there were women. And then you had obviously some of your members who took part in the press workshop on the Friday, which was great to see. And they were kind of, women as well doing it. So it was a really, really lovely to see. And they kind of looked as well, similar to what I kind of have, like normal women, they're just, they're just like,
I attract my clientele would be more the older spectrum. So late 30s, early 40s, 50s, 60s. I've got 62-year-olds who've only been lifting for say 2 years. So I do attract, your vibe attracts your tribe, really, isn't it? I'm not gonna, so I get the ones who want to learn, want to be educated. So we don't do bit like your place, actually, James. We've said that before, haven't we? They're quite similar, where I don't get the, we don't beast them, we don't do, obviously we do a couple of daft burpees, but my classes are more focused on the strength side. And I think as women are getting it now, that actually you're not going to get big and bulky by lifting weights, and it's not all about cardio, and it's not all about blowing out your backside. We've actually got like a heart rate monitor in the gym, and I got that purposely because to prove that you don't need to be in the red zone all the time. It's, I think everyone's now these days, we've got such a stressful life, and some people train to get rid of that stress, but then they're putting the body into more stress, aren't they? So we're trying to get that message across, and my members are getting it. But yeah, it is nice to see that, that is 90%. It is female members, and I do obviously have male members, but it's nice to see them to walk in, and I've got like your 55-year-old mother doing a pull-up, and I'm like, yeah, go on, it's quite, I don't know, it makes your job satisfactory, isn't it, really?
And I think let's go back. I wouldn't mind going back to, because it's a question I find a lot, because I run a program called the Amazing 12, which is barbells, it's strength training, it's a physique program. And by physique, we're not thinking purely weight loss. There is a weight loss component. Yeah. But one of the concerns a lot of people have, and mainly women, it's 100% women, is that that there's a heavy emphasis on some of the kind of upper body exercises, like the bench press, for example. And there's less emphasis on legs. Now, when I talk to my clients about that, I'm like, we talk about just the sheer kind of, the thing is about a squat is that you can use a lot of weight. And when you're using a lot of weight, you can stimulate a lot of change from that. So you don't really want to be doing legs every day because you could quite easily burn out. But often some of them start seeing the muscle tone, and they have an innate kind of reaction to it. Although they've come to me to create muscle tone, it's a very different feeling that maybe they've experienced in the past. So when you're starting to work with women who've never done the kind of strength training you do, how are you talking them through that change that's going to be happening to their body?
Well, I always explain, one, if you've got more muscle, you can eat, you can burn more calories at rest. So there's a bonus. And I go down the health. So basically, you know, I always think lifting weights is going to make our bones stronger, our ligaments stronger. You know, when I'm 80 odd year old, I want to be able to get off the toilet and wipe my own backside. So I try and go down that route. You know, it's if you feel stronger, it's less injury, you're going to live longer, train for longevity. I've had a few going, oh, my shoulders are getting bigger. And I'm like, well, do you want nice muscular shoulders or do you want just big shoulders? So it's like, I've not really, mine sort of get it. I've not really had any that have left because they're muscly or anything like that. I think because the way I look, maybe I don't know. I'll have to ask them. That's a good question. I'll have to ask.
Yeah,
them.
I think because maybe. I mean, well, I've got a great trainer who's a woman, Marta. She's awesome. She does the programs and she's really strong. I mean, really strong. I mean, I always tell them if you're getting a bit too bulky, I mean, firstly, you know, you're probably 1 in a million who's got the genetics. And secondly, I want to know what you're doing that I'm not, because because I'm struggling to get bulky myself. You know,
it's one of those things. It's like learning to cook and then accidentally becoming a Michelin star chef, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh dear, look what happened.
Yeah, exactly.
I was just going to say as well, Jemm, just before Paul said that, it was kind of a similar point, really, but that I'd actually forgotten how and I'd forgotten how small you were, you know, like when I saw you at the weekend, because I've got pictures of you actually we've got these digital frames that cycle through pictures at the gym. I saw you've got like a big screen up at yours as well. Yeah. And I've got pictures that come round of and I think it's probably of that first SFL where you were there, and there's you, Claire and Fabio. And maybe is it Angelica? I think.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And you're all doing like bicep poses, you know.
Yeah.
And you all got these really impressive biceps. And you look in the photo, you look quite big. And then when I saw you at the weekend, I was like, oh, you're really petite, aren't you? You're really. I don't know how tall you are. 5 foot or something.
I think at the SFL I was probably about 65, 63 kilograms, because obviously I was doing maybe a lot more CrossFit style training then. So to be honest, I was just probably inflamed, inflamed from overtraining, wrong type of training. I had a lot of muscle, but it was unfunctional. I had a big glutes, but they didn't work. I mean, you know, that I realised that with the kettlebell swing, and that's one thing Claire said, you know, you've got a good ass, but it doesn't work. And it's right. And I say that, so I'd rather have functional. So I think I've just stripped down a lot on my muscle that wasn't needed, because it was more for aesthetics. So I'm a lot lighter now, and it's just by changing the way I train. I think because I've got little limbs, it looks like I've got a lot of muscle because I've got short arms.
But you're also quite. How tall are you? 5'1"?
About 5'3" if I stand tall.
Okay. So it was almost like farmers,
after farmers walk. 5'5".
Because you know, people always say, don't they, that like when you see people on like in movie stars or whatever, and then if you actually meet them in person, they're always a lot smaller than you think because you see them on screen. Yeah. You know, but so what Paul was saying, you know, you lift a lot of weights and you're very, very strong, and you train you know, harder probably than 95% of the women who you're going to meet or going to train, but you're very petite and very, you know, very toned with it, and you're not kind of, you know, so I think that is like a legitimate fear, or it's not, maybe an illegitimate fear, whatever the term would be, about women getting bigger and stuff with weights. But like you said, and like Paul said, the majority of the time, if you train well and you train hard, you'll actually end up probably looking smaller than you did, although you may have some definition and you may have some muscle lines and that sort of thing.